Hello everybody, this is Elliot from ETJ English. Good to see you again, I hope you're doing well. Today we have quite an interesting lesson. Now firstly let me explain, the reason why I have created this lesson is because I've recently added a new chapter to my pronunciation course, which you can join at etjenglish.com. And this chapter is about something we call consonant clusters. Now these things can be quite a nightmare for some students, so today we're kind of going to focus on the basics of them. And of course, if you want to really learn consonants and clusters in detail, you can learn everything you could possibly need in my online course in the description box below. Anyway, we're going to have a bit of a lesson about them today, just to get the idea of them, and maybe you can realize whether you have a problem with them or not. A consonant cluster is exactly what it says on the tin. It's a group of consonants which come together in a word, a cluster of consonants. So it could be 2 consonants, it could be 3 consonants, it could be 4 consonants, and essentially they are quite difficult to pronounce. The reason being because we don't have vowels to separate them, so they're all pronounced together. Now, the thing I want you to know firstly is, let's take a word like break. Break, okay? Now firstly you need to make sure before you learn consonant clusters that you know how to pronounce the consonant sounds. Lots of my students pronounce it as the R sound as a R, which is definitely wrong when it comes to British English. We have to pronounce it with an sound, where the tongue lifts up high and we create this kind of tension in the top lip, And of course the B sound is a much easier sound to pronounce. Now this usually happens with consonant clusters. Usually the first sound is a much easier sound to pronounce, and it's the one which follows which people have difficulty getting to. And in this case, the B sound is fairly straightforward. But when we have an R following it, an sound, it can become quite tricky. So the thing that we need to focus on, and this is what I want you to do, is imagine that your mouth is a machine. It's a working machine. It needs to do things automatically. And the thing that you need to do here is you need to start creating the second sound, the sound, as you are making the shape for the B sound. We treat consonant clusters almost like they are one sound. So as you are making the mouth shape for the B, you should be getting your tongue ready, lifted up high for that sound. And there we should be creating break. So as you're pronouncing that B sound, your tongue is lifting up and getting ready to create the rest of this joined sound. So we don't say break, we have to say break, all in one breath, and we move the tongue to replicate the sounds. So some other examples with BR would be bring, same thing again, bring. And this is a great way to practice. Create that first sound, B, then start adding the tongue and moving it into position, br, and then create the rest of the sound. Bring, all in one sound, all in one breath. Some other examples of some 2-letter consonant clusters. We have the word try. Same thing again, we should know how to pronounce that T sound. And the tongue is already in quite a comfortable position for us to just slightly curl the tongue back and create that try, try. Feel that tongue move with that sound, it all moves together, try. We also have the word friend. This one should be fairly easy because we're starting with a F, where the teeth touch the bottom lip, F. And then of course, as I said, while your teeth are touching that bottom lip, prepare your tongue for the next part of the sound, the sound, friend. So your tongue can curl up early for that sound, so it's ready to be pronounced. Like I said, imagine it's one sound, not loads of separate consonant sounds. And this makes it really easy. Just don't create a sound in the middle. I have lots of students taking my course, and when they send me recordings on WhatsApp of them practicing, I will hear friend. But we just need to treat it like one whole sound. Friend. How about when it's at the end of a word? What about st? feast. St. We cut the sound out with that very quick t sound. Feast. And if you're having difficulty, the letter S is really useful because you can extend it and make it longer and then cut it out with that T. So you can practice better with the S sounds. So find more consonant clusters which have the S in it at the beginning of the cluster, and it might make your practice a bit easier. St. You're cutting the sound out. Feast. However, they can be a little bit more tricky than that. For example, when we have the TH sound, how about the word three? Now this is difficult because lots of people have problems with the TH sound in general. The tongue needs to go between the teeth. So we rest the tip of the tongue in between the teeth. And then, of course, we won't be prepared to lift the tongue to where it needs to be. So you just have to be really quick with that one. So feel the tongue lift as you move between the sounds. Three. Now, lots of my students, they pronounce it as three, where they feel like they need to roll the tongue, trill the tongue, we call it in pronunciation, where the tongue moves almost like it does when we do a L sound. But you need to make sure that you lift that tongue to the shape and you keep it there. It doesn't move, and you have to create that sound. So if you're not very comfortable with the sound yet, then I don't recommend practicing THR consonant clusters. But just for this pronunciation purpose, three, okay? Tongue between the teeth, and as we move to the R sound, the tongue needs to lift up a little bit higher and curl back slightly. Three. Remember, for that sound, the mouth isn't very open, it's quite relaxed. Of course, another word which would be similar to this would be the word through. The tongue is between the teeth, it should slide off during that sound and lift up and curl back in the top of the mouth. Through, three. Another example, SCR, for example, scream. So now we have three consonants together. SCR, scream. Okay. So again, lots of things that I hear from my students are scream. But remember, we need to treat all of this like one sound. Scream. Like I said, it should be like a mechanical movement, like a car, how it works. All the bits work together. I don't know anything about cars, but all the pieces work together, and it should be like that. As you reach each sound, the mouth is ready to pronounce it, so it's treated like one sound. All joined together. Scream. Even where a consonant cluster is in the middle of a word, discreet. Discreet. All joined together, get the tongue in position. Discreet. Don't let there be any sounds. Don't do secrete. It needs to be screet. All together. Get ready for the next sound. And like I said, if you're not confident with pronouncing each of those consonant sounds, you need to learn how to pronounce them. And I'm just going to give you a nice challenging one, a very British word. So what Americans call potato chips, we call crisps. So what's happening here, I want you to imagine that it's one long s sound, but halfway through we're separating it with a p sound. So it's all one sound, remember? So you actually just need to push your lips together to create this p and cut the sound out, but it immediately joins back to that s sound. Crisps. There are three twisty crisps. There are three twisty crisps. There are three twisty crisps. Have a little attempt at that, and what I usually recommend to all of my students is create some of your own consonant cluster tongue twisters. Practice yourself. Creativity is one of the most important parts of learning in pronunciation. If you create your own sentences, you'll remember them more and you'll associate them with particular things, which makes your improvement easier, okay? So create some of your own sentences and have fun. That's a really important thing. It's all in the course and it's all there to help you, along with my direct contact and voice messaging on WhatsApp. So if you want to join, go to the description box below and I can't wait to start helping you. If not, I will see you in the next YouTube video. Take care. Cheers guys. Bye.